Have you ever had the feeling of less noise but more power? Have you ever had that feeling of instant torque? Have you ever had that feeling of pure exhilaration? Introducing an all-electric 4-speed dirt bike. This is one-of-a-kind, custom-made rocket for all-out performance. A very high-output motor with a 4-speed transmission, matched with a sine wave controller. Let's take a look at the power source for this bike. A custom battery with an all-aluminium housing, very high discharge lipopolymer cells, equaling 88.2 volts with 3.9 kilowatt hours. The BMS employs Bluetooth to allow monitoring of each cell with your smartphone. Introducing the designer and creator, Rex Smith.
Who's that Australian voice?
Huh?
Hi, I'm Rex Smith, and I created all these fast electrical things. Let's take this dirt bike for a test drive. So we're up here in Beaumont, California, here at the very high Edison Tower. Really far out here, up high. And this is more in detail here with the electric dirt bike 4-speed. And this thing's a blast to ride, man. It's so much torque. First gear is super low, almost worthless, but on hills like this, coming up, you use first gear and it just rips up any hill you throw it at it. Second gear is mostly the sweet spot. You could use that for every type of driving. Like if you're a beginner and you're not used to like riding a dirt bike and you're not used to clutching, you could just keep it in second and you don't need to clutch at all. Second's a sweet spot. Then third, I mean, it gets really fast. And then fourth, I don't know how you use fourth on the dirt. It's just, I think this thing will top out around maybe 70 miles an hour. I don't have that data inputted yet. I'm gonna do that tomorrow, actually, do a top speed on it. It's an electric motor with a 4-speed transmission. And it has a sine wave controller up here, so the air could come in and the heat sinks on the bottom here. It shifts just like a normal dirt bike. You got your gear, everything's normal. 4 speeds here. You have your digital display here. Here's your how you turn it on. You have a voltmeter here, just a secondary, and then you have your actual meter here. I'll explain a little bit later. This will tell you everything you need to know. There's a shunt built into the battery, so the current has to run through the shunt, and then it comes to this display. So it tells you the volts. I rode probably for 60 minutes, and we used, let's see, there's your amp reading, here's your amp hours. So it's a 44 amp hour pack, and I'm at 32.75 left, and I rode about a good hour right now. And here's my percent. So it gets good range. So here's the battery. Here's the heart of this design, is this battery here. I constructed this whole thing out of aluminum and then wrapped it with a carbon vinyl here. The cells in here are lipopolymers, which I've done tons of tests, and lipopolymers have the best performance with the least voltage sag. They're 25C rated continuous and 50C burst. So you're never going to use that type of power, but when you have a battery that could produce 4 times as much current as you're actually using, you're not going to wear and tear these batteries up that much. And actually, they don't even get warm. I have 6 temperature sensors in here, four temperature sensors on the batteries on each corner of the battery, and then the BMS in here, it has a sensor for the BMS and a sensor for the BMS wires, so when you're charging it. And the BMS on this actually is controlled right to your phone, so it just goes to an app, and you can monitor each cell as you're charging to make sure everything's going good. Now, I actually do have one other layer of protection. It's a cell alarm. So this plugs right in. So basically what you do here is I set this up at 3.5 volts. So when this reaches, when one of the cells reaches 3.5 volts at any time, even under load, it will alarm you. So that's fine under load. That means you're getting low. But if it's doing it as a constant at resting, then you know your 3.5 is getting really low. So this plugs right into a balance lead that will go right into there. Anyway, so this will be set at alarm here, and then you could just double side tape it or zip tie it there, and then that will give you some more protection. Here's your actual mechanical kill switch that's only used for emergencies. You never need this, you never pull this, but I have a little area in case you do have problems ever as you're riding. You never know. When you pull this, it's going to disconnect the connector, and it won't have any more battery to controller at all. Just a mechanical kill switch, or whatever you want to call it, just a dead man switch or whatever. One last little way of protecting yourself. I just leave that there, so when you're riding, you always have a way to pull that. This is more of the prototype version of this, everything put together on this frame. And what I mean by that is, the battery box is so big, it needs to be pushed back a little bit more. It's really close to the front here, which I understand. But again, this is more of a prototype. So this one's great for trail riding, just not jumping and stuff. But what happened was, when I was mounting this motor, I needed more support from the top here, not the bottom like the other chassis I was working on. This one needed it here. And when I already had this made, it got stuck because I had to reinforce a support beam in here for this to go. So next time I will reshape this so it bends back, and this box could come back about 4 inches to the motor, which it should be. So that's one flaw with this particular one, but again, this is more of the prototype, so that's just how it is. It still works great, just it's a little bit pushed a little bit too forward. I'm offering a 44 amp version like this, which is huge, but it's really good if you're going to go long distances and you're not like racing on a track where you're going to come back and you want a full battery to start the race again. This pack is perfect, but if you want, I can make a smaller, a 22 amp hour, so it'll be half this size, and have it detachable with no tools. So you could just have 2 of these boxes, like one on the bike, one in your truck, already charged, and then you basically would take a couple pins out, I think 2 pins and no tools needed, and slide it out, and then put it in the full charge pack in, and then start charging your, if you're, say you're at the track or something, you would just charge your pack with a generator or an outlet, the one that you just took out, and then put in the fresh battery right in. It'll be half the weight You have a full charge every time you ride it. So that's more so for someone like doing laps around track and they want all out and lightness. But if you're out here like somewhere like this, I would definitely recommend the bigger pack. I got a few other projects coming. We'll go take a look at those right now. So I turned a power wheel into a 120 volt drift trike for adults, reinforced the frame, did major works. I mean, this was a lot of work. We got front disc brakes here. Everything that would be fun to ride, but I won't ride it again, just to let you know. Here we go with a new design. This is a Mega Moto mini bike fat tire. This thing is cool. It's a rolling chassis I bought in a box. Look at this thing. And I'm gonna convert this to a electric. Oh my God, I can't wait to get to this thing.